There are places in our solar system so hostile, so cold, and so far removed from Earth that at first glance they seem completely dead. Worlds where sunlight is weak, temperatures plunge hundreds of degrees below freezing, and radiation storms rage endlessly across the surface. And yet, hidden among these seemingly lifeless places, scientists believe one world may secretly contain one of the greatest discoveries in human history. Not Mars, not Venus, but a frozen moon orbiting Jupiter, a moon covered almost entirely in ice, a world where the surface is so cold that exposed human skin would freeze solid almost instantly, a place bombarded by enough radiation to kill a person in only a few hours. And beneath all of that ice may lie a vast global ocean, an ocean larger than every ocean on Earth combined, an ocean that may have existed for billions of years, an ocean that may already contain life. This is Europa, and the deeper scientists look into this frozen world, the stranger it becomes. Because Europa is not just another moon, it may be one of the most important places in the entire solar system. To understand Europa, you first need to understand where it exists. Far beyond Earth, beyond Mars, and beyond the asteroid belt lies Jupiter, the largest planet in the solar system. A gas giant so enormous that more than 1,300 Earths could fit inside it. A planet with storms larger than entire continents. A world surrounded by dozens of moons, many of which look more like planets than moons. Among them are the Galilean moons, Io, Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto. Four massive worlds discovered by Galileo in 1610. And while each of them is fascinating in its own way, Europa stands apart. Because unlike the volcanic chaos of Io or the heavily cratered surface of Callisto, Europa appears strangely smooth, unnaturally smooth. From a distance, the moon looks almost peaceful, a bright white sphere streaked with enormous reddish cracks that stretch for thousands of kilometers across the surface. But these are not mountains, and they are not canyons. They are fractures in the ice itself, signs that Europa is not frozen solid, signs that something underneath may still be moving. Europa is slightly smaller than Earth's moon and orbits Jupiter every 3.5 days. Like our own moon, it is tidally locked. One side always faces Jupiter, and from Europa's surface, Jupiter would dominate the sky. It would appear enormous, nearly 4 times wider than our moon appears from Earth. Its massive swirling clouds would permanently hang overhead like a giant cosmic wall. And unlike the calm skies of Earth, the environment here would be terrifying. Temperatures on Europa average around -160 degrees Celsius. The sunlight reaching the moon is incredibly weak, and Jupiter's radiation belts constantly blast the surface with lethal energy. A human standing unprotected on Europa would receive a fatal radiation dose extremely quickly. And yet, despite all of this, Europa may still be alive. For a long time, Europa was just another icy moon. Scientists assumed it was frozen solid from top to bottom. But that changed when spacecraft began taking closer images of the surface. In the late 1970s, the Voyager probes flew through the Jovian system and captured the first detailed photographs of Europa. What they saw was deeply strange. Europa had very few impact craters. That alone was shocking. Most ancient worlds in the solar system are covered in scars from billions of years of asteroid impacts. But Europa looked young, too young. Something was resurfacing the moon. Something was erasing the craters. And then there were the cracks. Huge fractures spread across the moon like veins. Some crossed over each other. Others appeared broken and shifted out of place, as if giant pieces of ice had drifted across the surface before freezing again. The evidence pointed toward one unbelievable possibility. Europa's icy shell may actually float on liquid water. Later missions strengthened this idea even more. The Galileo spacecraft arrived at Jupiter in the 1990s and transformed our understanding of Europa forever. Using magnetic field measurements, scientists discovered something extraordinary. Europa appeared to contain a conductive layer beneath the surface, and the most likely explanation was saltwater, a massive underground ocean, potentially over 100 kilometers deep. To put that into perspective, Earth's oceans average only about 3 to 4 kilometers in depth. Europa's hidden ocean may contain more than twice as much water as all of Earth combined. An entire world ocean hidden beneath ice. And if you could somehow drill through Europa's frozen crust and descend into that black alien sea, the experience would be unlike anything on Earth. No sunlight would penetrate the depths. The water would be pitch black. Above you would hang kilometers of solid ice. Below, the ocean floor may contain hydrothermal vents releasing heat from the moon's interior. And around those vents, scientists believe chemistry capable of supporting life may exist, because on Earth, some of the most extreme environments imaginable are still full of living organisms. Near deep-sea vents where sunlight never reaches, entire ecosystems survive using chemical energy alone. Tube worms, microbes, strange crustaceans, creatures thriving in darkness under crushing pressure. And if life can exist there, then maybe Europa's ocean is not empty either. What makes Europa especially fascinating is that it is not geologically dead. The moon is constantly being stretched and squeezed by Jupiter's gravity. As Europa moves closer and farther from Jupiter during its orbit, tidal forces flex the moon's interior. This creates heat, enormous amounts of it, enough to keep the underground ocean liquid despite the freezing temperatures of space. And scientists believe these forces may also cause Europa's surface to crack open repeatedly. Some regions appear chaotic. Literally. Scientists even call them chaos terrains, massive areas where giant blocks of ice seem shattered, rotated, and frozen back together, as though the crust partially melted beneath them. Standing near one of these regions would likely feel surreal. Towering walls of fractured ice would stretch across the landscape. Sharp ridges would cast long shadows across the frozen plains. The ground beneath your feet may creak and shift over geological time. And everywhere around you would be silence. No wind, no rain, no sounds of animals, only the distant hum of radiation from Jupiter filling the emptiness of space. Yet some scientists believe Europa may occasionally break that silence, because evidence suggests plumes of water may erupt from the surface, enormous geysers blasting water vapor hundreds of kilometers into space. If confirmed, this changes everything, because it means spacecraft may not need to drill through the ice to study Europa's ocean. The moon itself could be ejecting material from the ocean directly into space, potentially carrying salts, organic molecules, or even microscopic life. Future missions hope to fly directly through these plumes, and what they discover could completely change humanity's understanding of life in the universe. Of course, when people hear the phrase alien life, they usually imagine intelligent creatures, cities, civilizations, something watching us from beneath the ice. But the reality is probably far stranger. If life exists on Europa, it is most likely microbial, tiny organisms surviving in total darkness. And yet even that would be one of the most important discoveries in human history. Because if life formed independently on Europa, then life may not be rare at all. It may emerge wherever conditions allow it. And suddenly the universe becomes a much more crowded place. Still, Europa's ocean may hold surprises. After all, Earth's oceans contain creatures so bizarre they once seemed impossibles. Trimpantid animals, fish that create their own light. Likely will also have them too. To implement different ones, they consider them light. Creatures surviving beside volcanic vents hot enough to melt lead. And Europa's ocean has existed for potentially billions of years. That is an enormous amount of time for evolution. Some scientists have even speculated that larger multicellular organisms could theoretically exist there. Not giant sea monsters, but perhaps simple alien ecosystems, slow-moving organisms drifting through the darkness, predators sensing vibrations through black water, colonies of microbes clinging to hydrothermal vents beneath kilometers of ice. If such life exists, it has likely never seen sunlight, never seen stars, never seen the universe beyond its frozen ceiling, an entire hidden biosphere trapped beneath ice for billions of years. Because Europa is so important, space agencies are preparing missions specifically designed to study it. NASA's Europa Clipper mission aims to investigate the moon in extraordinary detail. The spacecraft will repeatedly fly past Europa while mapping the surface, analyzing the ice, and studying the possibility of subsurface oceans and plumes. Meanwhile, The European Space Agency's JUICE mission will also study Jupiter's icy moons, including Europa. Humanity is entering a new era of exploration. For most of history, Europa was nothing more than a moving point of light in the sky. Now we are designing machines capable of exploring it. And eventually, humans may attempt something even more ambitious: landing there. Imagine standing on Europa's frozen plains. Above you looms Jupiter, enormous, swirling storms stretching across the horizon of space. Beneath your feet lies an ocean deeper than any on Earth, and somewhere in that darkness, there may already be life. What makes Europa so fascinating is not just that it is strange. The solar system is full of strange worlds. What makes Europa special is that it may answer one of humanity's oldest questions. Are we alone? Because if life exists beneath Europa's ice, then life found a way twice in the same solar system.